Taking a moment to breathe, you leave your frustrations behind and move forward towards the final circle of the Inferno. One way or another, it all ends soon. You are certainly not the same people who arrived through the dark forest, and perhaps you will not be the same people who left Earth when you return to it. Struggle changes people. What meaning can life have after you have seen and experienced all of this? Are you expected in paradise? Perhaps graced with salvation for having saved humanity? Or will you need to redeem yourselves for all the transgressions that have haunted you along your journey? The path goes downhill, as if in a valley. The Inferno, it is now evident, is like a great funnel, a crater the size of an inverted mountain formed when Lucifer was thrown to earth, expelled from paradise. Each circle is a step that descends to the center of everything, where the devil himself awaits. A steep cliff marks the beginning of the circle of the treacherous. From below, a breeze carries the fog up the cliff and leaves you intrigued. The winds are cold, not warm. How did they get all the way down? The devotee looks into the abyss. The height is comparable to that of a 3-story house, or slightly taller. They could not have just jumped, right? After everything we have been through, this is what you find strange. The outlaw raises an eyebrow. Really? They had help. A corpse, barely visible through the mist, reveals the truth to the mercenary. The creature, who is lying face down on the ground, looks very much like a bearded man in his 50s, save for his disproportionate size, maybe greater than 10 men. Thick, dark blood runs from hundreds of wounds. The caravan does not have the clockwork wings. Let us get on with it. There is no way around this bloody wall. Words from the outlaw that, coming out of the artist's mouth, widen 3 pairs of eyes. I mean, go ahead, mates. Waiting up here will not make this cliff any smaller, she says, composing herself before gesturing to begin the descent. The caravan endures an ordeal of prowess of difficulty 15. 12 hits. The devotee and outlaw will spend 1 vigor, and will get 15. Climbing down the rock with your bare hands is not an easy task, even for experienced climbers, but you are the champions of Christendom, mortals whose skills impress the saints, and no wall will stop you. The outlaw is the first to reach the ground, followed by the artist. The way he and the wanderer look at each other shows their silent competition. The mercenary arrives soon after. However, the poor devotee is still only halfway there. Maiden, jump, it will be faster! The mercenary extends his arms as if he were going to carry a bride. Your discreet giggles only serve to discourage the proud girl. Seeing herself with no choice, the devotee throws herself, trying hard to trust. Without seeing where she is falling, the fall could very well be fatal, but the strong man catches her quickly. Nice catch. She thanks him in a relaxed manner. The outlaw will receive 1 prowess token. As you continue, the ground becomes slippery, and you hear the ice crunching beneath your feet. On Earth, this is never a good sign. One of you gathers the courage to look, confirming your fear. This is the surface of a frozen lake. Watch your... The artist is about to suggest something when a breeze suddenly blows away the mist, revealing a scene that takes her breath away. Dozens of headstones, each a foot or more tall, fill the surface like a cemetery. The memory of Dante comes to mind, however. The confusion is soon dispelled. These are not pieces of stone, but people. Damned souls, withered by cold and death. Like crooked stakes, they are encased in the ice from the chest down. Their necks hang forward, forcing them to look at their own reflection. From their mouths, only the sound of chattering teeth echoes like an orchestra of cicadas. So, this is the punishment of the treacherous, the devotee reflects, little knowing that this is only Cana, the first of the 4 zones that precede the devil's throne. Her disdainful gaze is almost as cold as the wind. But that's not all the breeze reveals. From down here, the silhouette of the fallen giant is clearer, and he is not that far away. In the opposite direction, to the north, you can see shadows of humanoids running back and forth, fighting and screaming in the wind. Something is still happening in this place, but surprisingly, no one is in your way this time. Antenora, the second zone, lies unprotected just a few miles ahead. Awed by the majesty of the fallen figure, you take the path south, feeling the chills of winter. Who in their right mind would have thought of taking coats to the Inferno? Help me. A deep, hoarse, strong voice speaks like the sound of a trumpet. Surprisingly, the giant is alive when you reach him. The creature is as magnificent as he is terrifying. Measuring 4 men from feet to waist, he is large enough that his torso would be visible to those coming from Malbolgia when he stands beside the cliff. His attire is rudimentary, crafted from animal fur and leather. Iron shackles encircle his body, from which hang bags filled with treasures hoarded for eternity. His name is Antaeus, and he shares his story between gasps as you try, unsuccessfully, to treat his wounds. Even though the cure you know have no effect, slowly, the creature is slowly recovering on his own. After a few failed attempts and listening to the slow speech of a dying monster, you have a clear picture of recent events. Antaeus, fulfilling the task assigned to him by the High Power, guided the knights down the cliff, but was soon ambushed. The damned who watched the scene took the opportunity and rebelled from their icy tombs, joining the invaders. The giant was merely the first to be subdued. The army advanced, bolstered by the newly allied Treacherous of Cana, who are eager to assist in hunting down the remaining sentinels.
Only Mordred can stop the bleeding. Or rather, King Arthur's treasure, which he has.
The villain conjured Excalibur upon breaking free from the ice. According to legend, its scabbard possesses the power to prevent a knight from bleeding in battle.
Bring it to me, and I will march with you to Judica, striking down all who stand in the way of restoring the divine arrangement.
You exchange glances, considering the tempting offer. The giant's help would be valuable, but time is short, and Mordred will certainly not give up this treasure. Even if you succeed, the undertaking may delay your real confrontation.
Look at these overstuffed bags, the outlaw remarks just before you depart. Our needs are greater than that of a dying bloody giant. Are we not fighting for him too, after all?
To tell the truth, you all thought the same. The giant uses the last of his strength to try to move, but the wounds take their toll, and he does nothing but groan in pain. Taking what you can, you leave the giant and move on, watching his silhouette disappear into the mist once more.
Draw 2 findings.
The path ahead takes you to Antenora, the second of 4 zones on the way to Cocytus. The damned here are trapped in ice just as they were in Cana, withered tombstones staring at their own reflection. However, not just these suffering souls dwell in this place. The silhouette of an order commander emerges through the mist a few steps ahead, accompanied by a squad of rebellious traitors.
We do not have Discovery Card 43.
By heaven, that is not possible!
Wearing 4 or 5 other cloaks from his fallen brothers, the knight does what he can to protect himself from the cold.
The Supreme Leader should not have spared you!
He recognizes you.
Who are these?
A damned soul asks. Unlike mortals, the icy winds no longer affect him. His clothes, you recognize, are the same as those of the Pavisari soldiers, but the uniform is neither blue nor red. It is purple, and you can easily guess why.
Walking corpses who have not yet realized it!
The knight draws his sword.
This god-forsaken place, Antenora, is the home of those who betrayed their own country. I wonder what kind of pit awaits those who betray humanity as a whole.
Provocations give way to steel and blood.
The caravan endures an ordeal of aggressiveness of difficulty 15. That's a total of 14. Just need one more. The artist will spend 1. There we are.
As the outcome approaches, you feel the weight of the journey, but determination makes up when strength falters. With each blow, it becomes clear that the knights are no longer so green. Those who were not prepared did not get this far. Here, only those hardened through fire remain. Still, the fight is quick, and you remain standing, while they do not. 6 more men, not counting the damned. How many are there so far? Will there be any light left in you after having extinguished so many others? Dispelling these thoughts, you move forward. The caravan takes the robust treasure card, and the mercenary will get 1 aggressiveness token. Your crossing continues through Ptolemy, the 3rd zone. Here, those who betray their guests suffer, and their punishment is even more severe. The damned lie buried in the frost up to their necks, with their heads hanging back. They feel the cold breeze coming from Judica on their faces, but that is not a good thing. The treacherous' false tears freeze and close their eyes. All that remains for these souls is darkness, groans of pain, and chattering jaws. Although this place is almost devoid of any light, the shadow of a colossal beast looms on the horizon, and the beating of its wings is the force responsible for creating the gales that torment this circle. However, to your surprise, the place is deserted. The army has already moved on, and the damned souls who wanted to rebel have already done so. The resigned ones are your only company, which gives you the ominous feeling that, in fact, the end is near. War cries reverberate across the horizon, and you look at each other concerned. The brightness of the bursts of fire that descend from the heavens, as if it were the breath of a dragon, illuminate, just for an instant, the scene of a battlefield. Vlad has reached the devil.
Mortals, wait!
An elder dressed in Dominican robes shouts.
You are not with the army, are you? Do not go there. Judica is taken. You will never get past those men by force. But I know a way around it. I can bring you before the Prince of the Inferno without passing through them, through the catacombs of my abbey.
Conveniently, that is what you wanted to hear.
How do you know the Order is our enemy?
The outlaw voices your concerns. This is all very suspicious.
You have Dante to blame for that. When I was still in the ice, he passed me by while arguing with the leader of the knights, saying that the champions were still alive and were coming to prevent an alleged sacrilege. The men laughed, of course, but I believed him and decided to wait.
The battle has just begun, and the devil will not be defeated so easily. You have time, but can you trust a traitor's intentions?
God writes straight with crooked lines.
So the poet said at the time you were left to die at the gates to the 7th circle. Maybe that is why he put this friar in your path, in the face of so much suspicion. A test of faith, another kind of ordeal.
You know not how happy your arrival makes me.
The damned celebrates as you accept his invitation and follow him through the snow.
Hopefully, the heavens will not let this gesture of mine go unnoticed, and maybe I will be able to leave this icy tomb. Too convenient. The abbey is modest, even though the damned could have imagined it with all the splendor it never had on earth. The stone walls, however, keep the cold out just the same. Your host leads you to the kitchen, where a solid wood table with more seats than you need awaits you. A lavish banquet of porridge, cheese, wine, and at least 3 types of meat is laid out, but nothing captures more attention than the main dish. A calf stuffed with a suckling pig, which was then stuffed with a goose. 3 creatures on a single plate, layered like an onion. Wonders of medieval cuisine. Eat, breathe, rest! The friar lights the candles that flank the room. My home is your home, just as it was my nephew's. I know you have to go, but you deserve to eat, and I feel honored to offer you this last meal.
Sure, why don't we enjoy the feast? The friar acts in such a suspicious manner that he almost seems believable. Someone planning an ambush would certainly be more cunning than that. This, however, is not the case. This is one of those situations when someone says, I told you so, but someone else persuades you to doubt the obvious. Servants, it is time to offer the fruits. Just as you begin to relax, your host makes his announcement, and the mercenary captures your attention with a sudden gasp. He remembers this infamous sentence, commented on throughout Italy, the words that Friar Alberigo de Manfredi used to command assassins to kill his nephews, while the villains served them a banquet. The condottiero's eyes scan the room, and soon find shadows carrying crossbows that emerge from the alcoves, reenacting the abominable massacre. They are not real men, it is only their silhouettes, but the arrows they shoot seem very real. The caravan endures an ordeal of prowess of difficulty 15.
"12 hits and 2 fumbles. The mercenary and outlaw will pay a vigor, and that did it.
The attack takes all by surprise, but the tension sharpened your reflexes. The shots do not hit anyone, and in the heat of the moment, the mercenary jumps up, draws his weapon, and delivers a violent blow to Alberigo with a cry of fury. The strength and precision are so great that he decapitates the damned, and the spectral forms are promptly dispelled with grunts before the reloading of crossbows. We need to go, now! The abbey begins to shake, and the outlaw urges that you go, pointing to the trap door at the back of the pantry. Down there! He kept looking at that place! It was all a big hoax by your host, but at least he did not lie about the alternative route. The small door reveals stone stairs that enter the darkness towards the center of the circle and the universe itself. A secret passage beneath the abbey as promised. Each champion receives Invigorate 2, and the outlaw receives a second prowess token. That leaves everyone with 7 vigor except for the outlaw with 6. Following a cavernous path, you discover an intriguing truth. These tunnels do not pass around Cocytus, but through it. Wormholes carved into the frozen lake. Ironically, the place is dimly lit, far from being like Earth, but much more than any other zones you have visited in this circle. Through the light trapped in the ice, you see the bodies of the damned, still resigned, but underneath the surface. To you, they look like carrots with only their faces above the ice. The passage ends with another staircase carved into the stone, and with each step you climb towards the devil's pit, the noise of battle, screams of despair, and bursts of fire grow louder and louder. You emerge from the cave in the depths of Judica on the back of a colossal, hairy monster trapped in a pit from the waist down. Few places are as dark as here, but the frozen ground creates a mirror that reflects the flames of incinerated bodies and illuminates the environment with a macabre touch. The horror that the red glow reveals is breathtaking and difficult to describe. Each champion receives Prepare 1. The bodies of knights lie scattered as you walk through the ranks of the order, your focus fixed on a single destination. Only a few yards separate you from the supreme leader, but by a twist of fate, it is at this precise moment that the indoctrinator's song comes to an end. Raising his spear high, he shouts to his men, and the response is immediate. They knew what Vlad was doing, and their mission in that battle was just to buy time. Now, the villain gives the command, and the knights gather the rest of their strength and determination to accompany him in a final charge, one so brave that it silences the devil himself and widens his 6 eyes. At that moment, before everything ends, Dante turns his back. Part of him does not want to witness the end. Another still clings to the hope of a miracle, and he is right. When he looks up, he sees you, the champions of Christendom, the ones destined to prevent sacrilege. Indeed, there are no coincidences in the Inferno. Comrades, I knew it! The poet is as radiant upon seeing you again as a father who welcomes back a lost son, a completely human joy that he had not felt for almost 200 years. My heart is so relieved that words fail to describe, but I must be brief. You had forgotten about his austere and peculiar way of speaking. Vlad performed a ritual, awakened the spear of Longinus, and now has the power to kill an immortal soul. The power needed to kill the devil. He emphasizes the last sentence. Champions, it is now or never. The moment has come for which we were all sent on this journey. The speech brings a confident smile to your face, and you set off, trotting as a squadron. But soon, your joy fades as quickly as a snap. A triplet scream of pain and despair, 10 times louder than the loudest trumpet you have ever heard, echoes perhaps throughout all the circles of the Inferno. You can hardly believe your eyes. The titanic figure arches backwards, spilling a waterfall of blood from its chest in a scene as horrific as it is impressive. The spear hits its target, and the beast is dead. The knights shout in celebration of the deed that not even the heavens were able to accomplish, while you just watch in astonishment.
No, that is not possible,
Dante whispers to himself, as if the devil had heard him. The monster reveals one last trick. From the heart of the beast, just below where the spear had pierced it, the flesh bursts in a huge wound that sends it into the air, a pale, toxic cloud, so deadly that it makes the fumarole of Phlegethon seem like perfume. Before anyone can think of what to do, the mist expands across Judica, and one by one, the cries of celebration are silenced, and men drop like flies. Knights, orators, whoever the smoke kisses dies instantly, save for 6 individuals. You, Vlad, and Dante. As the macabre spectacle reaches its end, a creature emerges from the wound, drenched in its own blood and that of its victims. It is Lucifer's mortal form, the personification of the immortal soul that resides in the heart of the monster, and that neither the poet nor Virgil knew was there. One final obstacle to the Supreme Leader's plans. Raising his arm to the sky, the man summons the spear the same way Achilles summoned his when you faced him. The weapon flies into his hand, and then he heads towards the newly born creature, climbing the beast's body. It is not over yet! Dante feels the chills, another feeling he had forgotten.
Champions, go! The saints have seen everything and foreseen everything. You are where you need to be, and now the rest is up to you. Good luck.
The poet does not need to speak twice. The Chronicle phase ends here.
All right, folks, this is it. The penultimate chapter of our gameplay. This is what it all culminates to. The devil, Lucifer himself. We are champions. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I will see you in the next episode where we will kill or be killed.